it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Oh, come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peace that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday, and I get to welcome you to a magnificent Menopause Monday. Of course, we have our Menopause Mentor back in the building. Danyale Thomas is back to refresh us on some of the things we've gone over on these Menopause Mondays to make sure that we are all in alignment with some of the things that many women are experiencing when they are going through menopause. But of course, before I get into it with her, I get to get into it with you because it is the top of the show. This is the time for you to go ahead and share this show with folks who you feel could benefit from the daily dose of dopeness we work to give you here on The Day with Trae. And if you can't watch our TV show, we still have you covered, y'all, because you can listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network in The Day with Trae, and you'll find us on your favorite platforms. Well, I'm going to get into it with our Menopause Mentor after the break. But before that, I get to just share with you all how interesting it is for me to be in different parts of the state and be recognized for this show. I really enjoy doing this and making sure that we have a spotlight in our community about some of the great work that's happening. But also, it's so rewarding to go throughout the state and for folks to be like, oh my gosh, aren't you with Converge? Don't you have that show? And I'm just like, oh yeah, it's always blows my mind and throws me off. I'm not yet at a point where in my career, in media, where I'm just known everywhere. So when that does happen, I'm so grateful. But it also is a showcasing to you all. So I have to thank all of you for sharing this show and making sure you're talking about it. We are really here to spotlight the great Pacific Northwest and all of its beauty, especially its Blackness and its brilliance. And honestly, it's amazing to me that I have this opportunity to do this every single weekday, but also that you all are finding value in it. That's what this is about. If it was only one-sided and it was supposed to be feeding me, that would not resonate so well with me, right? So my whole journey in this media role and in this vital show that we are having is to always make sure that we are uplifting things that are impactful to you. Every time I'm sitting here, I'm always so in awe of the people who are here with me in the studio, who are joining me virtually, that are sharing something magnificent in their own right, something they've done, a business they're running, a book they just launched, a show that they're in, whatever it is. But the greatness is that there's always something to uplift and to spotlight. So thank you to all of my guests who come here on The Day with Trae to share the good works they're doing. And thank you to all of you for helping this show get known all over the state and beyond the state. I was once in Atlanta, y'all, and somebody was like, oh my gosh, my friend showed me your show. I'm telling you, sometimes you never know where it's going to come from, but that is because y'all are really being the ones to say, this is the dopest thing, or let me share this because this was so inspiring, this story I heard. Whatever it is that makes you share this show and makes you watch this show, I am thankful to you all. And I promise you, we are always working here, not just me, but our whole team, to make sure that we continue to provide great value for y'all in the world of media when it comes to Black brilliance. So thank you so much for all you've done to share this show with others. Well, up next after this break, of course, we got our Menopause Mentor back in the building. Danyale Thomas joins me after this, and we're going to go over some recaps of all the things that we've been talking about for those who are dealing with menopause and those who have dealing with menopause in their lives. Y'all don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Seattle Opera presents the world premiere of Jubilee. Jubilee follows the historic Fisk Jubilee Singers' initial tours following the Civil War. While raising funds for the fledgling Fisk University, the group shared their music around the world, showcasing more than 40 African-American spirituals such as Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, Deep River, and Wade in the Water. Jubilee is not to be missed. October 12th through 26th at McCaw Hall. Details at seattleopera.org.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Trae Holiday. We're teaming up with Public Health Seattle and King County to remind you that back to school time means making sure your kids are up to date on their vaccinations. Public Health Seattle and King County is offering free back to school vaccine clinics for kids ages 0 to 18 all fall. You heard that right, free. No matter what your insurance situation is, they got you covered. Getting your kids vaccinated is the best way to protect them from serious diseases like measles, mumps, and whooping cough, and it's required for them to attend school or childcare. So call your health clinic, pediatrician, or doctor today to make sure your kids have all their required vaccinations. You can also visit kingcounty.gov/find a clinic to find a clinic near you. Let's work together to keep our kids healthy and in school. Peace. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Trae Holiday. We're teaming up with Public Health Seattle and King County to remind you that back to school time means making sure your kids are up to date on their vaccinations. Public Health Seattle and King County is offering free back to school vaccine clinics for kids ages 0 to 18 all fall. You heard that right, free. No matter what your insurance situation is, they got you covered. Getting your kids vaccinated is the best way to protect them from serious diseases like measles, mumps, and whooping cough, and it's required for them to attend school or childcare. So call your health clinic, pediatrician, or doctor today to make sure your kids have all their required vaccinations. You can also visit kingcounty.gov/find a clinic to find a clinic near you. Let's work together to keep our kids healthy and in school. Peace.
Washington's charter public schools prioritize equitable learning opportunities for all students and strive for openness at every level. Teachers work with parents to build a trusting and supportive learning environment for students. To learn more, visit wacharters.org.
Seattle Opera presents the world premiere of Jubilee. Jubilee follows the historic Fisk Jubilee Singers' initial tours following the Civil War. While raising funds for the fledgling Fisk University, the group shared their music around the world, showcasing more than 40 African-American spirituals such as Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, Deep River, and Wade in the Water. Jubilee is not to be missed. October 12th through 26th at McCaw Hall. Details at seattleopera.org.
Welcome back to the David Trae. I'm the host, Trae Holiday. I'm the host of the show. Yes. Joining me right now, look, I think I got my own brain fog going on. Joining me right now is our menopause mentor, Danyale. Hi.
Hey, Trae. The brain fog is real.
I know.
That's
we
why
were
I
just
got my
talking
cell
about it.
phone just sitting right here ready,
The
just
notes.
in case I forget what I was supposed to say.
Well, we've been talking about menopause symptoms, and every week that you're on, every show you're on, I'm like, yo, no wonder why I'm dealing with some of these things, because the perimenopause is real. And it's so interesting because just meeting with my doctor, we're trying to define, okay, yeah, am I there or what?
Mm-hmm.
But I just told her, I said, I'm already experiencing these symptoms that I'm learning about. So remind us of some of the things we've gone over.
And that's the whole reason why I'm having these conversations, is because to make women curious, right? To make you be like, where am I in this life cycle that I have going on? Any woman that was born with a uterus and ovaries is going to experience menopause, right? As well as the symptoms that comes with it. And at any point between 35 to 55, those symptoms can show up. How do we address them? So we have talked over the last 6 months extensively. We've talked about mental health, right? We've talked about how to retain relationships at this time. We've talked about all the myriad of symptoms like over 36 that are possible to be attributed to menopause, perimenopause, and postmenopause. And so within that, my goal is just to really make it a personal conversation. right? So that you have some ideas of the conversations to have with your medical professional.
Mhm. Yeah, this is exactly why it's been so helpful for me because had we not been going over this, I wouldn't have been able to recognize some of those symptoms in my life and be able to attribute them to something other than just my own deficiency.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think that's the biggest thing that I'm learning and that I'm hearing
Mhm.
as I'm having conversations outside of this show about
Mhm.
menopause and perimenopause, and many women being like, oh my God, what?
Mhm.
Wait a minute. I'm like, you got to tune into the segment because have really outlined for us some things to be mindful of and to take back in terms of those conversations with our medical professionals. So I really thank you for that because
Yeah.
without it, I wouldn't have known how to speak about it.
Yeah. And for Black women in particular, like not only do we experience menopause at a higher rate in the sense that we're going to do it longer than most women, but it's more extreme, right? Our symptoms are more extreme. And until we and we're less likely to get any help, we're less likely to receive treatment, we're less likely to be believed, right? So us being able to hold space for one another, I feel like is even more important, which is what I get from the Mainstreaming Menopause Facebook group, is like women coming up to me randomly being like, I'm so happy that you started that space. Just that there's some place that they can go and talk about the things that are going on and know that they're not alone.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially for someone like myself, you're single and you don't yet have the partner to like go through it with you. So then like how do you introduce that to any potential partner? That's like another thing where I'm like, man, some of this stuff hey, like for me, the weight gain has I've been like, what is going on? It wasn't until I started having more conversations with other women around my age who were like, yes, I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on with my body?
Yeah.
And so much of it is like, is it just me? Am I eating all of a sudden eating differently? And it's like, no, I've done this extensive self-reflection when it comes to weight gain and weight loss. And I'm like, it didn't matter. It was just happening gradually. And I looked down and I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's a lot more belly fat or whatever. And so I really appreciate it because now I go, oh, okay. I can take it into account and build a plan that includes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so important. And because nutrition is such a big thing that we've talked about throughout this, like how it really can help to address a lot of the issues that show up around this time. If we can get that graphic up, because I have a cooking class that I'm hosting with Tia Williams of Dreams Manifest LLC. And we're going to be getting together at PCC, right? And really addressing how to cook in a way that's anti-inflammatory, right? How to address these issues that come up between perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, and how to better take care of ourselves from a nutrition perspective. So, right in point, I've put on weight recently, having to come off of hormone replacement therapy. So I had hormone replacement therapy and was told that I had to quit it, like cold turkey, because I had the possibility of getting breast cancer. And so women know that estrogen is supposed to be a contributing factor to breast cancer. So if there's any risk involved, then they'll cut you off, right? But there's other things that you can do if you feel like hormone replacement, you could benefit from it, right? And not to be, I feel like Black women in this conversation, we're more likely to be like, no, we want to do something natural, because the medical profession has not really been nice to us throughout the years, right? They haven't been believing our symptoms. And so we have found ways to care for ourselves. And so taking something isn't always the thing that we go to, but you have to realize that birth control is a form of hormone replacement, right? In the sense that it is replacing your hormones sporadically through your cycle to help you take care of a certain thing, right? To help you not become pregnant. So for us to be more knowledgeable, right? Have these conversations, and you talking about relationships, one of the things that I do in my dating is bring it up. This is the spaces that I'm showing up. These are the women I'm talking to, and this is what I'm talking about. And I feel like men are like more relaxed in having the conversation with me because I show up in so much authority in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're helping others do the same. And clearly, this cooking class is another way that you are not only taking this knowledge and helping others, but making it practical.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about some of the things that y'all are going to be touching on for this cooking class.
So anti-inflammatory cooking, and giving you recipes. We've partnered with PCC in Columbia City, so they'll be hosting. We're also going to have a mocktail hour, but really talking about how to better care for ourselves through food, and how to cook for ourselves in a way that we're not putting on so much weight, but also taking care of all the ailments that show up during this time.
Yeah.
Our heart health, right? Our bone health, and how to not be so achy from having the inflammatory issues that come up with the food that we're eating.
It's so interesting because I think that I've learned so much in terms of all of the things that can be attributed to menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, right? I mean, that I would have never considered. And the idea is that there are multiple layers happening as we get older, right? There's multiple things going on in our bodies, but this is a major one for naturally born women. And the idea is that we can not only know more about it, but plan better for it as we are in our, early 30s. You can say, okay, like, let me start having a greater understanding of how this may impact me so that I know how to navigate it when it comes around. I mean, it's unavoidable, really, right? Like it's going to happen. So we have to find the ways to manage it. And you really shared a lot of those tips. What are some of those top tips over the last 6 months that you really find are constantly reoccurring in the, mainstreaming menopause Facebook group?
Yeah, so some of the things that we really talk about is how to naturally address it, but also how to have conversations with our medical professionals to take care of it if we can't address things on our own. Things to look out for, right? Knowing that our bone health is at risk, our heart health is at risk, and really coming to it from a space of advocating for ourselves and for the women who are in our lives, having open dialogue and conversations like that is really empowering for us to not feel like we're suffering in silence or alone, or just going into it blind, right? You're right. It's going to happen to every woman. And that post-menopause, something I was listening to, there's a new film that came out called The M Factor. And it's a documentary style film of several women being able to tell their story. And one of the things that I am doing, I'm partnering with Marie Cadet and Leilani Lewis and Langston Hughes, and we're going to do a private showing. So save the date, November 16th, because we're going to do a panel and we're going to talk to mental health, medical health, and dental health professionals around menopause. So some of the things that come up that I've talked about that a lot of women don't even realize is that your dental health can be affected by menopause. Personally, I suffered from dry mouth. So they say that a lot of things go dry. You have vaginal dryness, your eyes can become dry, but when your mouth is dry, then it affects your dental health overall. And so all of these things that are coming up, I was finding that I was going to dentists. I went to about 5 different dentists in this city, as well as probably about 3 in Hawaii, and would bring up this issue. And they either had never heard of it, they weren't interested, they didn't have any solutions other than giving me something that would give me the false sense of having my mouth moist, right? Which wasn't really addressing the dental issues that were showing up because of it. So it's been my goal to just continue to have these conversations so that, I didn't even realize that was something that was a part of menopause symptoms.
I mean, that's why the normalization of the conversation is important. And you mentioned something earlier too around the longevity of life that women are experiencing nowadays, which, means what? We're dealing with this longer. Tell us more.
We're dealing with this longer. So progress in medicine means that we're going to live longer, right? So we're seeing women living into their 90s, right? Whereas women would go through their childbearing years, and then by the time they turn 50, they maybe had about 2 decades, right? Now we're looking at anywhere from 4 to 5 decades. And that needs to be addressed in making sure that we're taking care of our health so that if we're going to live longer, that we can do it with some vitality, right, and some joy, but also health. It also is going to lengthen the time that we're going to need to be wealth conscious, right? So are we taking care of our health? Are we taking care of our money? Are we going to have the health that we want as we age? Are we going to have enough money as we age? And so being a financial professional and talking to women on a consistent basis, we're talking about extended healthcare issues that could show up and what you're going to need to do to address that financially. We're also talking about how in your 30s and 40s you can be better addressing your retirement strategy, right? Making sure you're putting away enough money and doing it in a way that it's in the right places, so that when you get into your 80s and 90s, that you're living well, you're physically healthy. Do you have the money to address your life at that point?
Wow. I mean, this is, when you talk about it like this, it's all intertwined.
It is.
I mean, honestly, it is. So I can't thank you enough. And I'm so glad to know that you're hosting events and getting this information out there in ways that are super practical for folks, because that really helps to solidify, I think, not only the lessons learned, but the things that we can do about it, right? And so it's not just talk or theoretical, but it's like, no, we're going to do this. We're going to show you how to do it.
Yeah.
So thank you. Of course, if folks are trying to tap in with Mainstreaming Menopause, look right there and let them know how they stay connected.
So y'all can always join us on Facebook at Mainstreaming Menopause. Just put in a request to join. I click really quickly, and you can have these great conversations and get the issues that you have going on addressed with women that are going through it too.
Wow. Our menopause mentor, Danyale, thank you so much for being here and giving us all of this insight, especially me. Okay, I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Oh, wow. Y'all, what a great way to start off our week. I get to wrap it all up right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Disney and Cameron Mackintosh's Mary Poppins comes to life on stage at the Fifth Avenue Theatre, featuring Step in Time and Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Make it a jolly holiday at Mary Poppins. For tickets, visit fifthavenue.org.
A world of wonder awaits at Pacific Northwest Ballet's The Nutcracker. Treat your loved ones to the Northwest's favorite holiday tradition at Seattle Center's McCall Hall. Visit pnb.org.
Here on Back to Besa, it's always been important to me that we uplift stories from across the region, and that no matter where you live in the nation, you never have to miss a moment of the show as we continue to highlight the beauty, excellence, and resilience of our communities across the Pacific Northwest. Why? Because representation matters. So no matter where you live, be it the Central District or Centralia, Portland or Pullman, or anywhere across the country, I encourage you to join me on this Back to Besa journey by downloading the free Fox Local app on your phone or smart TV as we continue to elevate the very best in our communities.
Welcome back, y'all, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Wow, huge shout out to our menopause mentor, Danyale Thomas, for always bringing us some great insight into menopause. And also, again, as I said during her interview, making it practical for people through these amazing events and through hosting the Mainstreaming Menopause Facebook group. You know, this is what it's all about. You know, we talked about this, really having conversations about something that has really been taboo or has been only experienced by those in their personal experience. It's not something that's been that mainstream conversation. So I really appreciate her for being our, menopause mentor here, bringing us these amazing facts and talking about some of the things that are being shared in that group so that other women have an understanding about what to expect or maybe how to attribute some of the things that they're already experiencing to menopause. And also really for anybody who has a woman in their life that's dealing with menopause, you inadvertently are also dealing with these issues. So this is not just for women. This is for everyone who is dealing with women who are dealing with menopause. And honestly, the goal is to make sure you are informed. So, this is something that she does on her own time. And of course, I'm inspired by that. I want y'all to be inspired by it because she is a great example of how you can fill a void in your community by doing something that is beneficial to all and yourself at the same time. And honestly, it just is extra time for her, but it's also clear that she really cares about this subject matter and making sure folks understand all of the different ways that it may show up in your life. So I want to thank you so much for starting your week off with me. And of course, I want you to be inspired and continue that inspiration, because when you are inspired, you can find a way to be a part of the solution, as Danyale has shown us that she is. Of course, I get to be back with you tomorrow. And until then, at 11 a.m., y'all, peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.